So I'm, okay, we're good.
All right, we are recording. All right, well, hello, everybody. Glad that you're here. Spend a few minutes with us on the prep session for the program we have coming up June 5th and 6th. We're very excited about this. We have a great program. To date, we have a total of 31 registrants with still another week to go for registration. So I could see it's possible to get to 50 between now and then. Well, yeah, the press release just went out, I think today. Is that right, Nico? So the press release went out. On the Drexel side, we'll continue to push it out through some of our channels. I know SONSIEL, but you guys are pushing it out, which is awesome. I've posted it on my LinkedIn. I'd highly encourage everyone to post it on their LinkedIn profiles. Try to get a little extra juice there. And if you have Twitter, same thing. We'll keep trying to push it out. I mean, there's really not a kind of an upper limit. So the more the merrier, the way we have the program set up. If you haven't seen the agenda, what I will be doing, I'll be sending everybody an email later this week, hopefully on Thursday, to all the speakers with the agenda. So hopefully you know the time slot that you're going to be in and how much time that you have for this. So I'll get that out to you guys and you'll have that. We are using a platform. We're not using Zoom. We're using a platform called Hopin. I'll include some additional instructions on Hopin. You have to pre-register on the Hopin platform. So I'll send you the link to that. That's simple. It only takes a few minutes. And then Hopin, if you haven't been to a Hopin event, it's a really good online virtual platform. It's a little more engaging than Zoom. It gives us a little more kind of ability to do a few more things, like we can build in a networking session. It makes it a little bit easier to do things such as breakout rooms. Just in terms of facilitating conversation, to work a little bit better. Also gives us a little bit better repository for content. So we're going to be using Hopin for this as opposed to everyone just being on Zoom. So I feel pretty confident. We've been using that platform for our major events over the past year during the pandemic. One of my program directors, Melissa, she'll be assisting me. She'll be there helping with any of the logistical details, any technical difficulties, but it's very similar to Zoom. And if you're going to be on screen, you're going to share your audio video. Shouldn't have any issues. I'll try to set up a test for everyone next week so that you can kind of pop in and get a feel for it. You can just do it at your own convenience, just to make sure you don't have any issues with sharing your screen and your audio. So we'll aim to get that going sometime next week, so you have access to that. And over and above that, I'm trying to think if there's any other kind of specific details, anything else that you have to worry about. Again, at Hopin, you can share your screen, you can share video and audio. So if you have a PowerPoint or something else that you want to share, you'll certainly have the ability to do that just as you would on Zoom. And again, pretty straightforward, but I'll again make sure I send you instructions on how you can do all that. I think that's it. Julie, anything else I missed?
Chuck, I remembered that I did not introduce you at the beginning of this, and I know you, but our panelists and our speakers don't. So I thought I'd give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. And
sorry.
So thank you.
No, sorry,
I just jumped right in, and I forgot to. I mean, you're our lead for this program, so.
Yeah, no. We're so used to having these regular calls. We're just.
I know we are.
We're just flowing right into it. Yeah. So I know I've met some of you previously. I know Ann and him. We've met. I don't think I've met Idris and Paul, but my name's Chuck Sacco. I'm an associate dean at Drexel University School of Entrepreneurship, and I also run our student startup incubator through an institute called the Biata Institute. So very involved with entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship education. Prior lives, I was an entrepreneur, mainly in software technology companies. So hopefully I know a little bit to be dangerous about entrepreneurship and what it means to commercialize new ideas and new technologies. And I've done a lot of work, both with students, but also work with our faculty members who are working on the commercialization of new ideas, much of that in the healthcare sector. So, dip my toe in the water in terms of some healthcare aspects of commercialization. I've been on the inside of working in companies and commercialization of new ideas and working on innovation pathways and how do you get new ideas to market. So I've kind of been around the block through all aspects of this. And the program that I've put together in coordination with Julie and the rest of the SONSIEL team, I think is going to be a really good one, because we're going to give the participants some fairly broad exposure to what does it mean to try to commercialize or take a new idea to market, and try to give them a new language, give them an understanding of a new terminology, that as they're really thinking about taking new ideas to market, what are the things they need to know essentially to move the ball forward, take the small steps that ultimately lead to the big steps over time. So some of it for you as guest speakers may, be very basic, but, much of it, we're gearing this towards an individual who probably has very little, if no, exposure to entrepreneurship or business, and trying to give them tools also as takeaways that they can use post-program to work on the development of their ideas, and whether those are ideas they want to take to market in a brand new, they want to create a startup and they want to, change the world that way, or if they want to think about commercialization inside the four walls of the healthcare system or whatever organization they're working for. So I think we've got good content that will address both sides of that, with some exercises, both during the session, but also between sessions, between Saturday and Sunday. And again, give them a set of resources coming out of this that will be helpful to them. And then if we do it well, hopefully they'll want to come back for more advanced topics and deeper dives into some of the areas that we'll be talking about around commercialization. So that's what we've got. I'm delivering much of the Drexel content. However, some of my colleagues are delivering other parts of it. So I'm not the only speaker. We will have other speakers that will be appearing throughout the program. And lastly, I'll talk about one of the most, I'll say interesting, it's all interesting, but one of the, I'd say the most fun parts of this is we're providing all participants with an assessment tool called the Entrepreneurship Mindset Profile. It's called EMP. And it's a really great way to assess how do you think and act entrepreneurially, and where are you on the kind of a scale with a whole series of, think about 14, maybe it's not that many, but several kind of key attributes around entrepreneurial thinking. And so the participants are going to have this assessment. They're going to do pre-program, and then my colleague Liza Herzog will go through how to understand the assessment that they'll receive through the EMP. So that's going to be another exciting thing that we'll do. Yeah, and for all the Idris, yes, I'm going to, for the guest speakers, have you guys also receive that assessment tool. So you guys will go through it also.
So it'll be your challenge to see if, in fact, you are entrepreneurs based on the assessment tool. So you may be, so I'm just teasing, but yeah. So all the panel members
will validate the tool.
That's right. We'll validate.
Well, that could be
exactly.
Yeah.
It will validate.
Or maybe
break it.
we might find out that we are entrepreneur. You know, the
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I love it. I'll put in the chat here. Actually, you can get a preview of the tool. And again, you'll be getting a link to the actual assessment. We're going to be purchasing them, but I'll put this in the chat here. There's a white paper. It's actually a really cool tool, and it's like $25 a person, so it's not like it's an expensive tool. But it's been fully validated through research. We use it very extensively in our program, and it's become one of the default tools, I think, for assessing entrepreneurial mindset, and really helping individuals and organizations assess how are they doing and thinking entrepreneurially, and where maybe areas of improvement. So very excited about that.
Chuck, I know you have you've gotten the bios of all of our presenters. Do you want to have them give you any background at all? Or I think we did want to talk about whether they're going to be presenting live or through a video. And I think, Paul, you might have had a video. And if we want to, so I don't, Chuck, if you want to hear a little bit from anybody here, or what you want to know about the different speakers, other than, I know you have their bios and we've kind of fit them into the outline based on their background. So you tell me whether that's. Yeah,
I think what I'll do when I send everyone an email, I'll ask that question. That might be easier, and that way for everyone who's not here. So I'll ask, how do you plan on presenting? And that way I'll know when we set it up how that works. And okay. Yeah, and we have the bios and pictures of everybody, and that will also be in the PowerPoint deck that I'm building that includes all the content I'm delivering. We'll include your picture. I'll be introducing you. You'll come on stage and do your bit, and we'll kick you off at your time limit. The platform, just like Zoom, enables us to either through chat or through obviously somebody appearing on screen to ask questions. So, being cognizant of time, because we don't have, we've got so much to cover in a short period of time. I'll try to just guide you and say, hey, we only have time maybe for 1 or 2 questions, but we'll certainly do that in the chat or give again the ability for a participant to want to come on screen and ask the question. So we can certainly do that.
So Chuck,
Oh,
to
that
that point, so to that point, Chuck, do we want to do Q&A after each individual, or do we want to do it at the end when we have the panel? What's your, or do we do both? I don't know what your
I'd say, I
suggestion
think
is.
it depends how much time. So we do
Okay.
have each day the speakers panel. On Saturday it's at 2:15 and on Sunday it's at 12:30. So we're carving out a half hour more or less for speakers panel. So we can say, hey, we didn't have time for follow-up questions, but most of the speakers should be there for the speakers panel and come ask your questions then.
That makes sense to everybody. Chuck, did you want to go over the program schedule itself? I know I sent it out to the group, but would it be useful just to walk it through quickly, or is that not necessary? I'll ask the group that.
Let me find out my screen first here. I can certainly bring it up. La-di-da, let me find it. I have a paper copy here.
No,
That's not going to work. Hang on, I'll dig it up here. Where is it?
how do I share my screen? Because I have it on mine.
No, I have it here. I
Okay,
have
cool.
it in the PowerPoint that I put together.
Oh,
I didn't put it
perfect.
together. So let me share.
Okay.
Can you give me the ability? Oh, there it is. I can share screen. Oh, no. Julie, can you give me the ability to share screen?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Okay, you're a co-host, so you can do as you choose.
Sweet. All right. All right, so this is what we have day one. So we have obviously kind of introduction, housekeeping. I'll kick it off. Rebecca Love will do the keynote address. Then we'll roll right into the entrepreneurship mindset profile. My colleague Liza Herzog. Then I'll come back on and I'll be talking at a very high level about new idea commercialization and the entrepreneurship life cycle, really setting the stage for much of what we'll talk about through the rest of the program. Then we have a short break. Then we have guest speaker Lindsay Roddy. We've got Lindsay set up right now for 15 minutes. And again, we'll just see how things go. If it looks like we need to go faster, go slower, we'll adjust as needed. I'll also be doing a little more fine tuning on the program over the next 10 days. So I might tweak it a little bit here and there. Then I'm going to break into problem identification, idea validation, and the lean canvas. So this starts to dive deep into some of the tool sets that you can use when really thinking about solving a problem and how do you begin to validate some of your assumptions about that problem. But we really start with just helping them understand tools such as the lean canvas, which is a very powerful tool for just getting down on paper some of the key aspects of what you're thinking about. Then we're going to do a breakout room session. I've got that set up in terms of an exercise. And that first one's probably going to be a little bit more networking, get the participants and kind of familiar with each other. I think, again, it depends how many participants we have, but probably do 3 or 4 per room because we only have about a half hour for that. But that's, the idea is kind of give them opportunity to share what they're working on or what they're thinking about, maybe a new idea that they're working on. And that'll be that breakout room session, about a half hour. Then we've got guest speakers. So this is Idris. We've got you set up just ahead of lunch, which should be exciting. So everybody will be ready to listen to you and then get ready for their lunch break. During the lunch breaks, and again, this gives us a little bit of time. If we're running a little bit long, we can say, okay, we thought we'd be a half hour. Maybe we can only be about 20, 25 minutes, but we do want to give everybody a chance to decompress for a few minutes. However, the Hopin platform gives us the ability to do online networking. So I think what we'll do is we'll leave the networking open, and anybody that wants to do networking while they're eating their lunch can certainly have the ability to do that. Then we go into I go back into market sizing and competitive analysis. Again, very high level. How do you think about markets and the size of a market and total addressable market, which can be complex, but I think I can break it down. I know I can break it down in a way that will be pretty digestible and understandable. And how do you also think about competition? Then we've got guest speakers. So Paul's on at 1 o'clock on Saturday. After Paul, then I go into critical assumptions, customer discovery and development. So here I start to break down what are the key things you need to think about from an assumptions perspective when you're working on a new idea? And what are the key steps that you need to take in terms of understanding your customer? And it's a very customer-centric, customer-focused orientation for this type of work. And it's really almost the crux of everything that you do. If they learn nothing else, it's going to be in this segment here. And again, I only have 45 minutes. We're really just kind of touching on it, but they're still going to have some good tools as takeaways that will really help them understand what that means. We're going to, for about 15 minutes, just talk about startup teams. What does it mean to build a team? And team could be even from an internal perspective. How do you begin to build people who can be on the bus with you, people that can really help you take your idea forward, whether it's inside or outside the healthcare system. Actually, my colleague Damian Salas, I think, is going to be doing this segment, so that'll be a different name there. And then to wrap up the day, we've got the speakers panel Q&A. And the good part about that is because we're at the end of the day, if that needs to go a little bit longer, we can. But we did promise the participants to try to wrap up by about 2:30. And the idea with this schedule, doing it like this, is still give everybody their weekends, but also there's going to be an assignment at the end of the day. So we do want to give them time to work on their assignment. It should only take them about an hour, maybe a little bit less, to work on that assignment, but we do want to give them some time to work on that. So that's day one. And again, it's a lot. There's a lot here, but I think they'll really get a lot out of it. And then day two, we'll start off with kind of, again, where are we in the program? Exercise review. We'll review what they worked on the previous evening. Mary Lou Ackerman, guest speaker, 8:45. Then I'll go into your value proposition and your elevator pitch. So how do you create your elevator pitch? But it always starts in my mind with something called the value proposition. So I'll explain, what is a value proposition? How do you create a value proposition? Why is it so important? Why is it really the core of much of what you do when you think about taking any type of new idea to market? Then we have a breakout room session, which is predicated on some of the work from the prior day around critical assumptions. So that's a really good exercise. 15-minute break. Then we go into corporate innovation entrepreneurship. My colleague, John Wilson, he can't be there, but he's pre-recording 3 15 to 20-minute videos around corporate entrepreneurship and innovation. John's got a great background. He worked in the corporate world for many, many years. He's a great lecturer. He excels on production quality. So I fully expect the content that he's going to be delivering is going to be not only interesting, but also entertaining. And then we have you at 11:30. So you're following the corporate innovation entrepreneurship segment. And then we'll go right into lunch after that. Come back to the speakers panel Q&A. So that'll be the second one. Again, I'm not sure, Julie, if everybody can make both days, but whoever can make it to each session for the panel Q&A, then we've got that set up right after lunch. Then we roll into rapid fire of some topics: customer persona and lifecycle use cases. This is where I spend time helping them really understand some tools about how do you think about your ideal customer and user, and how do you begin to document that? How do you begin to articulate who's your ideal customer and user, and also think about the lifecycle use case? If you think about any new idea, help someone really understand the full life cycle of how a customer finds out about you. How do they discover solutions to their problem? How do they go about acquiring your product or service? So we've got some great tools in there that, again, can be quite helpful. I'll spend a few minutes talking about this thing called a minimum viable product, which essentially is what's the least amount of product or service that you can build to get the maximum amount of feedback on your idea, and spend a little bit of time on that. Business model analysis. I use a tool, something called Pimento Map, which is a really great, fun tool that helps you assess your business model. And by this point, they would understand what a business model is. So I'm going to take them through that tool set, which is a free online tool. And I'll give them, basically point them in the direction, say, hey, this is something you can do today, or you can do, down the line, but it's a great tool to really help you and your team, if you're building a team, assess the quality of your business model. And we use this in our coursework, and it's a great tool set. And it gives you gives you a score, and it gives you a report. So again, it's a very practical tool set. And then wrapping it up with just resources for your future efforts. What else is out there? What body of content might be most helpful to you in terms of books and articles and podcasts and everything else that you might need if you're really seriously considering taking a new idea to market. Rebecca back for closing contents, and then I'll close out the program, and it's a wrap. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but they're going to walk away with a lot of great resources, maybe a slight headache, but
It's a wonderful agenda.
Yeah, it really looks great. So Chuck, I have to leave in a couple of minutes, but on the, so looks like, which I'd seen the programs thanks to Julie, but just confirming 15-minute, guest speaker, part of it has Q&A, which will be, I look forward to getting your email and your guide. So one second, Q&A guest speaker panel sessions. Are they open to anybody from the speakers who are available to participate?
yes.
Okay, and then my last question for the 15 minutes, are we getting a couple of slides, or we just?
It's up to you, Idris. If you want to do a couple slides, that's great. If you want to just go without slides, that's your call.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Great to meet you, and I look forward to.
Idris, did you realize he said that they're going to have a headache? He knew that you were speaking.
That is very true. Very true. I also noticed, Chuck, by the way, Hiem has 30 minutes and I had 15 minutes.
No, Hiem only has, everybody only has 15.
We only have 15.
Oh,
Thank
it
God.
says 11:30 to lunch. I could be mistaken in my sample, but all right, I might be off with the math.
Chuck, you have to understand, we compete. We're at two different hospitals. And so it's like a big, we just do this all the time.
We're
That's
part
awesome.
of the same family. We are part of MGB, our new name now.
Not
okay.
MGH. That's hard to imagine. So Ann and I, as moderators, are going to chat tomorrow and think about a couple of questions just to get you started. And then Chuck, I did want to ask you how the audience, the students, if they want to send any questions in advance, or will they just put them in the chat or just raise their hand? How does Hopin work that way?
Yeah, so there's a chat function, so we can put it in the chat. Then there's also basically they can request to come on screen. So the way we'll set it up, just to make it a little less noisy, is we'll ask all the participants to not be on camera, but we'll know they're there, and there's a button they push to say request to share audio and video, and I'll see them in the control console, and I can then click on that person, and then they can come on.
Okay, great. So you'll act as a moderator along with Ann and I, having some questions that we're going to prompt in advance. Okay.
Yep,
So
that'd be great.
Julie, did you say you're going to be asking questions to the guest speakers?
We thought we'd have a couple. Ann and I thought we'd have a couple just to kick off the questions or the session. But if we think there's enough coming from the students, from the audience, then we don't need to do that. But we thought just in case we'd have one or two.
Is that for the panel or individual guest speaker presentation?
The panel.
The panel.
For the panel.
All right.
Just for the panel.
Thank you.
And
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you,
And if
Judith.
there are questions that don't get answered, Chuck, from the presentations, maybe we could capture those somehow, if I'm not attending everyone's presentation, but we might want to, get those things answered in the panel as well. Is there a way we can capture those and give them to the moderators?
Yes. So what we can do is have people ask those questions, and then we can save them for later, essentially. So yeah, it's easy to capture those.
Great. That'll be good. So, we'll be efficient with the time, but it'll be, I think, really good to hear, from the participants. I think they're going to want to be able to talk at that point, looking at the curriculum, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I would hope so. I'm sure there's going to be way more questions than we'll ever have time to answer, but we'll do the best we can. And I think also, part of the program follow-up, might be, give them the ability to send us some questions. If they're just like, I'm confused about something or not sure about something, happy to follow up with them afterwards.
Great.
So
You
mentioned 31 attendees. Is that the number?
Right now we have 31, excluding guest speakers, we have 31 attendees.
And are they mostly clinical? Are they nurses? Are they clinical? Like who?
We're all nurses.
They're all nurses. Okay, I just want to make.
nurse. Yeah.
Okay, then I just sometimes I address the nurses I bond more, and then I speak a different way. So I good to know.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Well,
our
I'll just say,
understanding is they're all-
nurses
yeah.
are those on the front line. Nurses
Yeah.
are the, I don't want to say that if half the people aren't nurses, but if they're all nurses, then I'll cater to them.
Yeah.
But they're
Yeah, I mean,
in
that's-
different functions, right? They're from different industries, not just everyone's in a clinical setting, correct?
No, they could be. Yeah, because I do know that one of the individuals coming, and he was I believe he was one of the coaches or one of the judges at the Nurse Hack for Health. So,
Right.
and he wanted to attend, and I think he's actually done a product or two of his own. So I think we've got a pretty broad mix.
Great.
And then, so we have the 16 scholarships for SONSIEL right now. We probably go up to, we have 15 right now. We'll go up to 18 because we have one person who didn't respond and we have 2 more we're offering. And then we may have another 4 coming in and we're working that through now. So I think we're going to at least see that and hopefully some more people will register when we all get I'm going to post it on my LinkedIn again. I did that about a week or 2 ago and got some responses from people. So hopefully we'll get some more.
And what I would say for the speakers that are here and those that might be watching this recording, the way I think we've set this up is, it's a nice blend of your backgrounds and expertise and obviously experience and expertise in nursing with our expertise in entrepreneurship. So you can, if I'm talking about a certain topic, that's a topic I could apply to really any industry, but you're going to be able to say, and you heard Chuck say this, and in nursing, this is how we think about it, right? So I'm not a nurse, right? I don't have a background in nursing or healthcare much at all, but how it gets applied. And I think that's why we have the interspersion of the guest speakers and the speaker panels with the content gives it a nice rhythm and flow so that you can help translate my words in a somewhat generic sense into something that's more specific or applicable in the nursing and healthcare industries. Good.
Perfect. Terrific.
Yeah, so I think, I look for an email from me. Please do not hesitate with any questions, concerns, problems, anything that comes up, happy to, we'll deal with everything that we can possibly deal with. If somebody's, whatever, there's emergency or something, please, again, I'll include my cell phone number, other ways to contact me as if we have any issues or problems. If somebody does need to pre-record their talk, we can accommodate that also. If somebody last minute's like, whatever, can't make it, but can I pre-record? We can certainly accommodate that. Prefer live, but that's fine too. And
I think as Chuck said, you'll all get a link, so you will have to register so you can get into the Hop-In platform, obviously.
Yep. Yeah, I'll include that in my instructions. Like I said, look for that by Thursday, worst case Friday, but I'm trying to get it done so I can take Friday off. It is Memorial
And
Day
nice
week.
long weekend. That's right, a nice long
Although-
weekend.
Although here in Philly, it's supposed to rain now Friday and Saturday. I don't know if you saw that,
Oh.
Kristen.
yeah, I know. I think we have that too in Boston.
Yes, I don't know. It looks like it might be a junky first part of the weekend. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll just stay in and finish all my course content.
That doesn't sound very fun, Chuck. You got to find a rain thing you can do, I think.
It's outside time. I did all my inside projects. They're done.
There you go. There you go.
Now there's always
Well,
stuff to
thank
do.
you. This is terrific. We're so excited about this. We really are. This is really exciting.
I think it's gonna be great.
To give you one last data point right now, and I'm not done. I have 130. Hang on one second to give you a number here. Talking about giving everybody a headache. 220 slides to share so far.
And just as it relates to pre-read, so we did send, just so this audience knows, we sent 2 articles that came from Mary Lou Ackerman. And we provided a link to the podcasts and suggested or link to the Rebel Nurse Handbook if they wanted to purchase it, but it's not required for the course. If there is some article that you really feel passionate about, please, let us know, send it along. I will forward to you both of the articles that Mary Lou had and a possible third one if you want to take a quick preview. But those are the 2 we have right now. And if there's something you go to as a methodology or something, please don't you know, it doesn't have to be embedded into the course. It's just some pre-reads that we get them thinking about. Even a Harvard business case, I was looking if there was one out there, but I didn't find one that really looked good. But if this audience, I know I mentioned that in some prior emails, but if anything comes to mind, please send that along. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, and even it could be, it doesn't have to be pre, it could be post.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to overwhelm them too much with pre,
Fill
but
it in.
yeah, but when we do want to do a follow-up, you know, we'll do a follow-up email to all the participants and say, you know, obviously recap what they've learned and so forth. But the key would be then to also send them additional resources and any other content that could be helpful to them in their journey. Because as we all know, right, you know, everybody in this course, in this program, this is really the start of their journey. And there's a lot that has to be done if they really want to actualize and realize their vision of what they're thinking about. So
Yeah, we don't want to freak them out in the pre-read.
no, but we want to make sure they have a lot of resources post.
Yeah, because I think if there's anything we've learned, there's just a lot that, as you all have been through this, there's a lot you just don't know, and don't know always where to go. So.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Thank
Good.
you. Okay.
All right, look for emails from me, and otherwise this is exciting. We're so thrilled. This is just,
We are too.
we're beyond happy about this partnership, so thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for all
Great
your work.
meeting. Yeah,
you.
thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
See you all.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Chuck. Come a long way since September when we first started meeting, huh?
I know, and that
Yeah.
is something. That's great.
Yeah, yeah,
Very
thanks
exciting.
so much.
So,
Bye,
thank
all.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye all.